If you guys have been around the channel a while, you know I love me a good rumor, and this one's a little unorthodox, not gonna lie, but let's dive into it. Are the Jets going to sign a prolific free agent wide receiver?
J-E-T-S, Jets, Jets, Jets!
Alright, welcome to Jets Talk. My name is Ryan, I'll be your pilot. If you're new here, hit that subscribe button. If you've been here before, welcome back. I love having you here. Boys and girls, I've got an interesting rumor from a very unreliable source, but it's something I figure is worth a mention because it has just enough, to possibly be real, but also kind of give you a lot of pause for concern. So, interesting. This is not from your normal everyday source. It's not from a beat reporter. It's not from some inside source. This is just some random guy found this article, post, whatever, documenting the whole situation on Reddit as well as the Jet Nation forums. So this post originated on the Cougar Board, which is a BYU forum for all things BYU sports. It's not a Tinder for Cougars. I see what you're trying to do there. But no, this is weird. This is interesting. So this comes from a poster by the name of Draper Coug 22. The reason I'm giving you some of this information is because I've been a part of football forums for a long time, 15 plus years. And you can generally tell who the good and bad posters are based on their amount of rep or, duration on the site. And I just want to put a little context with this. This particular person has been on the site since 2018. He has an average of 4 posts per day for a total of 4,100 posts. So this is not just some, one post kind of guy, blip in, blip out, looking for attention, or at least it doesn't seem that way. So there, all my context out of the way. Here's my tinfoil hat, sort of situation with everything that's going on here. So let's go through all the different aspects to this because the prolific free agent wide receiver was just one piece of everything here. I just figured it was the one that would get you to click on the video. So let's go through this one by one. Apparently this guy wound up running into Zach Wilson at some point and just started asking him a few questions. He asked what the biggest surprise had been being in the NFL. He didn't hesitate to say that it was the speed of the game. Guys being able to dedicate 100% of their focus to their game shifts them into an elite gear. Defenses anticipate everything so well that it's very hard to be a step ahead. That makes perfect sense. We saw that kind of go through. We saw that as Zach went through the season, right? You saw it felt like the game was way too fast. He had way too many interceptions at the beginning part of this game, where in college, he was really known for not throwing interceptions. And as you got towards the second half of the season, you saw that shift where he stopped throwing the crucial back-breaking turnovers. So I do think the game is starting to slow down for him, and I think he sort of tips his hand, or not tips his hand, but he sort of talks about how in college he was able to devote, a whole bunch of time to tape and everything like that, but he still had his school and his studies and everything like that. Now when you're in the pros and you can devote 100% of your time to your craft, I think that makes things a lot harder on quarterbacks, being these guys are so talented. The next part is, now that he's a pro, said it feels normal and just part of his path, basically feels a lot more comfortable than at the start of the season. Oh, see, checks out. The next part, this is where things start to get interesting. Jets plan to sign a prolific free agent wide receiver in the offseason and use all their draft picks for defense, with maybe one pick for the offensive line. He is feeling excited about the chemistry going into next year. This one's crazy, and I will say this. I don't believe Joe Douglas has shared his exact plans. I don't even know if there is an exact plan right now, because you can't really bank on free agency because guys sign a whole bunch of different spots for a whole bunch of different reasons. But it gets you kind of thinking, right? So let's pretend that there has been a loose idea of what the Jets would like to accomplish this offseason, because I don't think there's any real shocker. Like I think most of us predicted we'd go after a wide receiver and we'd use a lot of our assets towards the defensive side of the ball. So if we're taking this at face value, let's look at wide receivers. What wide receivers could there possibly be that fit the prolific wide receiver, tag? I would say Godwin and Gallup were two guys that I was really looking at. Torn ACLs, I would say they're probably not in that conversation anymore. Devontae Adams certainly fits the bill, but that's like, from my understanding, he wants more than DeAndre Hopkins, and I'm pretty sure Hopkins is getting like $27 million a year, so I am not paying someone $30 million a year to catch football. Like, that's just silly. It's just not happening. Which brings me to a few other options. There's like Christian Kirk, there's Mike Williams, Juju Smith-Schuster, and none of those seem to really fit the bill. I mean, you could say Juju Smith-Schuster or Jarvis Landry, or sorry, not Juju Smith-Schuster, Amari Cooper or Jarvis Landry could wind up being cut and then becoming free agents. I think both those guys could fit in some capacity. I'd definitely err on the side of Cooper in that sort of situation. But I think one that makes a lot of sense, and he was in the thumbnail of this video, and that's Allen Robinson. He's 28 years old, has a connection with Robert Saleh. They both spent time together at the same time in Jacksonville. And you know what? He's coming off a down year, so he's not going to command the same kind of money that he would have commanded just a few years ago. So I do think that sort of fits the bill for Joe Douglas in terms of the type of free agent targets that I think he would look for. Now, I don't really consider Allen Robinson to be the elite threat or the prolific wide receiver, really, that he once was. Maybe, I don't know. That's just the one that sort of fits the puzzle pieces that I'm trying to fit in here. As far as defense, use all their draft picks on defense, I would assume that means the bulk of our primary assets. So, like, if you want to go Karlaftis or Hamilton at 4, Nakobe Dean at 10, maybe you go after someone like Brisker, the safety from Penn State? I think it's Penn State. He's going to be at the Senior Bowl, so it's someone that the Jets are going to be able to really keep a close eye on. And then maybe they go with Trey McBride or they go with an offensive lineman. Like these are all sort of things that I can see are sort of believable. Then we get into some really weird conversations going through the rest of this. So he says it's wild being on the field with guys like Tom Brady. He's grown up watching. He joked about the AB situation and said he would gladly put AB into a Jets jersey. That's a little alarming. After everything you've seen from Antonio Brown, why would you want to put him in a Jet jersey unless you really think his talent is that much better than everything on the field? So I don't love that. I don't want any part of AB. He says he misses the mountains. He's not a city guy. I could have called that. There's definitely people that do not like the city. I, for one, am not one that loves being inside the city. I like visiting the city, but I would not want to live in the city. He then says Berrios is his best friend on the team. They become really close. That just seems like it makes a ton of sense. When you look at all the chemistry that they've had over the last half of the season, it seems like they're having fun. They're enjoying their time. I think that's definitely why Joe Douglas has opened the door to conversations with Berrios coming back. I think he understands that type of chemistry is important here. He said he couldn't watch all the BYU games because of the late start on the East Coast, but he's glad that BYU had a great year. He said people in Utah don't recognize him, or people in Utah recognize him all the time, but he said a lot of people in New Jersey still don't recognize him while he's out and about. So, look, it's interesting. There's like some stuff that's like really cool. There's some stuff that's definitely concerning, and a whole lot of it is all conjecture. There's not like, I would not be shocked if none of this was true whatsoever, but it's a fun conversation starter, right? Really the number one wide receiver and the defense in the draft is kind of, at least more of a talking point. Let me know your thoughts of everything down below in the comments. Who do you think this prolific free agent wide receiver could be? Do you believe any of the stuff that we were told in this post? Am I just wasting my time making a video about something silly that was found on the internet? Yes. Yes, I am. Guys, let me know all your thoughts in the comments down below. And as always, go Jets.